thing when you're out and about and you're able to earn a little pay packet, however small it is, you have something coming in. But when you reach that retirement mark and nothing is coming in, you still have the bills.
It's like you have a heart attack.
It's tragic.
So what is left to be done in terms of getting the workers on board?
Well, I know, posts have to be created and and so on. So actually the submissions are in for that, and
for the Ministry of Finance,
right? And now Cabinet will have to then approve that, because the Ministry of Finance does the administrative work,
right?
To expand the workforce, the establishment, that would have to be a Cabinet approval. So that is where we're heading now, and the commitment is there already. You will recall the Minister of Finance was strident on the matter when he presented in the budget debate. The Prime Minister, the Minister of Local Government, everybody's on board. There's no equivocation. So this is a certainty.
Oh, so it's a matter of time. Great to hear that. But there are other things that has happened. I want you to tell me, because we're going to look at some of the challenges you have had. Of course, one councillor mentioned that he thinks that you need to get more money. That's Councillor NSWMA. But tell me about some more of the good things.
One of the things that happened is we have managed to, we're steadily building back the fleet of the NSWMA. The fleet was allowed to run down, and I won't get into the why, the whys of it. But we are steadily, and since 2016, we have increased in terms of new addition to the fleet. We have put close to 100 new trucks in the fleet since 2016. The trouble, though, is when you wait too long to replenish, those that came in 2016 and 2017, by now, they are now starting to show you signs of wear, because we run the trucks around the clock. Our trucks don't sleep, they don't park,
right,
and so on. But we have the replenishment of the fleet was significant for us, and trucks. If we don't have trucks, we did. And
the consumers will make sure that happens.
Absolutely.
So the citizens.
So last year when we promised 100 trucks, we got 50 of it, and we are now procuring in the final stage of the procurement now for the remaining 50. So we'll get the next 50 trucks in another 5 months, 4 months, 5 months. We'll get the next 50 trucks. Now, it's important that we get those 50 quickly, because in that we have crane trucks. Because you will know that all over the place you see derelict vehicles and all that. We have to have those. The compactors are good, but they don't help you for those kind of bulky stuff. So you need the crane trucks. We're getting 4 new crane trucks, 1 per region. As you know, we have 4 regions that deal with the operation. And we're also getting 10 tipper trucks in that batch of 52, because we do have the bulky waste challenge. And importantly, we want to roll out a national plastic separation. The public is asking for it. We are doing it now in limited areas. We have about across the country, about 80 communities that we are in across Jamaica, most of it in Kingston and St. Andrew, of course. But we are planning to do it nationally. But we can't do it without the tipper trucks, because you can't ask people to separate the plastic and then you mix it with the regular garbage after it's separated. So we have to send a separate truck.
You probably should address that issue, the separation of garbage. How close are we to that in terms of having that nationally?
Well, in terms of the separation of plastics, that's where we intend to, once the 50 truck arrives, we will be moving, we'll be doing a press briefing and launching that island-wide in terms of separation of plastic. We want to take the plastic out the waste stream for more reasons than one. You will know that the plastics, when it is loosed out there in the waste stream, it is a major cause of flooding. When the rain comes, it's light, so it's floating in the waterway.
And must be clogging up, or they call it sinkholes and
the culverts and the drains and so on and so forth. And it leads to the big floodings and the sea people.
And pollution.
You're talking about the gully.
Yes.
You're going too far. You stop on any major thoroughfare, any roadway, and look to the side. People just throw things through the car windows at will. I mean, travel waste is one of our biggest problems.
But you know why they do it?
Because they can get on.
Yes.
Right.
Funny enough, the other day I was coming around a car, I was almost certain that I put on my indicator. The police stopped me and said I didn't put it on. So I had to pay the fine. That is that we don't have a kind of an indicator. I don't even get a little warning. That's my third ticket in my whole life. We're not getting that sort of thing with garbage and so on. And I've been suggesting for years now that the whole ticketing system be extended to other areas of national life, and garbage is one area you could extend it to.
Right. So the truth is the litter act.
Right.
We are supposed to enforce the litter act, but our enforcement unit up to recently was a mere 40 people on that for the entire island.
But here's the joke though.
And then
You know what, you need to have special people doing that. That's something police, district constables and so on could do.
right.
You know?
So what we are trying to do is along the lines that you're talking is to get those kind of linkages going. That this not reside or the responsibility don't just reside in one authority here, but that
Right.
the other agencies of state that has broad reach, like the police and so on, should be engaged in a more thorough, more profound way. But the garbage collection and the waste, travel waste especially, is a major issue, and it's difficult to police because the truth is you can't be behind every vehicle, you can't walk
But
behind
guess
every
what?
citizen.
I'm going to look at a system that I believe some persons will not like, but I don't like it because I know it's going to be very effective. If you catch one man throwing garbage and he's issued a ticket, for example, after 3 tickets or so, your license suspended out for probably 6 months. That we probably should have every quarter or so when we take up heavy stuff. Because what persons are doing, they take the refrigerator and they all carry and they throw it in the gullies. But if people know that from the say end of March, end of May, then we could let's put those heavy stuff out.
Right.
They'd benefit and you'd benefit, and probably the scrap metal people have to behave themselves.
Well,
and so I'd love it to look at that.
We had adopted that quarterly bulky waste, we call it.
Right.
Bulky waste removal. The challenge we run into is that we didn't have enough tipper trucks. So part of why we're getting the tipper trucks, part of why we're getting, in addition to helping us with our plastic separation, we would use it once per quarter to do bulky waste. But you are correct. We must have a structured and well communicated
right, as to when it will be collected.
Bulky waste program. Because we have seen on experience that there's a lot of those kind
and
of
then people
items.
can plan for it. You have an old stove because the order coming in for April. Therefore, we put up the whole stove, the whole refrigerator, and that will make a big difference.
Developments that we factor in the critical services that have to serve the people, like the garbage collection.
And that is why the construction of the building right across the country, we need to have a holistic approach. There's garbage, there's fire, there's water, there's electricity, there's internet. So when we do this, we put all of that in the mix, and we design the building in such a smart way that it facilitates all of that. I get the impression that we just put up buildings sometimes and then we think of sewer disposal and we think of something else. You know?
Right. So going forward, and I'm kind of impressed with a lot of the new developments that I've seen, where you can see clearly that they plan for there's a guard house, but there's also a garbage house, right, and it's accessible. So that's a plus as we move forward. There is a number of things that have to be done that is not yet being done.
And they could do it start with the separation of garbage, that you have one for plastic and one for food, that kind of thing. You know?
So, which is where I was going, that there are some things that have to be done. We need the regulation so we can enforce, for example, receptacles, that the types of receptacles and how you position the receptacles.
And by the way, all of that, I would suggest to get some input into that in the terms of the building code. There's a new building code, not as far as I know, not in law as such, but I think it'd be good that the organization ensure that goes into the building code, that we start to build buildings and apartments in such a way which facilitates the collection, the separation, and the collection of garbage.
Right. So you're spot on. This is the name of the program, right?
That is why I don't know how I came up with it, but I noticed in recent times everybody's now talking about spot on.
Spot on.
It's just amazing.
Spot
I
on.
keep wondering if it's because I call the show spot on. Why it's because I'm hearing it more often.
Right. You're hearing it more. They buy a red car, start selling a red car. So I'm saying that we have a way to go, and some of the things we are talking about is not in the short, but more the medium to longer term.
Right.
But in the short term, we can't even get people to properly containerize their garbage. A high percentage of our population. They will carry the garbage out in a keg or in a tray or something and just dump it out. So we end up have to be doing the sweeping up.
That is why, and I want to think about it very seriously, of any development they're going to have, they have a system where the developers have that as part of the system. So you have this is a garbage area, you have an inner part, and you throw the things in, the garbage has something to pick it up, it picks it up, it drops out. So you just throw your garbage inside there.
Right.
But when it goes over the truck, it has a way to open it. I just think being creative. I've never seen it work anywhere. But it has an inside part, mesh thing, pretty sturdy. Truck goes, it lifts it up, and when it lifts it up, it touches something and the bottom drops out. Takes it back, puts it inside, it's gone. Because what you find, sometimes it's not the people who live in the area, it is persons who throw it. And you have to understand, you have to say thanks, because rather than them throwing it on the road, what some of them do, they find the nearest garbage thing and throw it inside.
Right. Which is weird.
So by the way, tell your guys, even from the seat, still pick it up. It's not the people do it. I've seen, and you have to give thanks, because rather than throw it on the street, the people, they take it and they come up with your garbage bin and they throw the garbage inside there.
Appreciate. Vernon, the point is I really want to make is that we have to do better containerizing our garbage. If the regular folks that put out the garbage and just loosely put out the garbage, it's very, very costly for the taxpayers. And I explain briefly how. So we put a truck, and let's say the truck is going into Vernon District. When the truck hit Vernon District, we expect that truck to be out of there within a particular time. That it can go on to Derby's district.
Right.
Now, when it gets stuck...
Did you say Derby's district or garbage district?
So when it gets stuck in District A...
During that kind of yes.
Right? Because we have to stop and be raking up and bagging up and so on. The truck, first of all, have to remain in full throttle. Because if you're going to work the compactor, you have to have the engine on. When you're ready to put the garbage in, you have to rev the engine and all that. So we are wasting the diesel fuel, park in one place. If we had that garbage properly packed up, we would be moving from a gate less than 2 minutes. It could take, depending on the amount of garbage, it could be 3 minutes, but there is 2 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes, and we're off from a gate. Now we're spending at some gate 20 minutes. We're spending half an hour.
That point you just made a while ago, I put it to you that Jamaicans are not conscious or aware of that.
Make this point that no garbage collector should tax you.
You heard that?
No, should tax you. They are paid a salary, and while it is not the perfect salary, it is significantly better than a few years ago, especially since the reclassification.
Right.
So therefore, you are under no obligation to hand over your monies, irrespective of what demand is made of you by the few that may have that tendency. Don't yield to that temptation. There are those of you who care for your sanity.
Yield not to temptation, for yielding is sin.
Right, that's in front of Vernon here, good. Yes.
You start joining me and sing the bass.
But I know that a lot of residents, they really care for their sanitation worker, and they treat them well, especially coming around Christmas time. And to say to you that you are under no obligation to do it. You do it if you want to do it.
You heard what Mr. Gordon said.
I have to make that point because
because if you encourage it, through Vernon, no money if you give them.
Right.
Them just pass by yard.
Right.
And absolutely. It could come across as if you're bribing them.
Right. So we don't want to encourage it. As again, I'm trying to make the distinction. It's a separate thing. If you voluntarily want to offer them a sandwich, some Jewish people do that all the time, and there are people who treat them very well.
Yes,
and we want to encourage that. We don't have a problem with that, but we are dead set against when they make it demands of you, and that should never happen. Having said that, let me use the opportunity to big up my sanitation workers right across Jamaica. They are the most dedicated group of workers that is anywhere in the Caribbean. I can testify to their commitment. I've watched them in good times, and I've watched them right through the pandemic. They never miss a day. in the rain, in the sun, they're out there.
I don't need you to tell me that. And by the way, any day you get the children learning this again, or this song, will be on the way. But
Bits
it's
of
all
paper.
bits of paper, bits of paper, lying on the ground, lying on the ground. Keeps the place untidy, makes the place untidy. Pick them up, pick them up. Bits of paper, bits of paper,
Lying on the ground, lying on the ground. It make the place untidy.
Make the place untidy, pick them up.
Pick them up. And we were out singing and picking up the
I'm
paper.
picking up paper.
And it was cool.
It was cool to do.
was
so.
cool.
And whatever, it wasn't done to do.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Thank you
anything
very much, Mr.
Demoralizing the children. Are you?
Thank
putting
you.
Them through. No, it was good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Audley Gordon. The
Chief garbage collector.
you get it.
Spot on.
Spot on. Thank you, my friend. All the best. That's Audley Gordon there with us. It was great talking with you, my brother.